The Galactic Academy's observation deck vibrated with tension as 300 cadets from 47 species gathered for the final evaluation of their training, the Deathworld survival exam. It was the moment every cadet feared, the test that ended more careers than any battlefield simulation. While armored Krillian warcasts compared scars and Venothi hivemind synchronized strategies, one figure sat unnoticed in the far corner. Jake Morrison, human, hood pulled low, earbuds in, invisible by design. For 2 years, Jake had mastered the art of being ignored. He spoke little, reacted less, and never competed for attention. Among species bred for war and shaped by conquest, the human from Earth appeared unremarkable. Most cadets assumed that was because he was. Earth had only joined the Federation 15 years earlier, and its people were widely considered soft, emotional, and physically inferior. A garden world species pretending to belong among predators. Commander Threx stepped forward, his insectoid mandibles clicking as silence fell. He announced the exam location, Terra Adjacent 4, a Level 7 Deathworld. 72 hours of survival. Teams of up to 5 allowed. Instantly, the chamber exploded into negotiations. Pacts formed. Minds linked. Alliances solidified. Jake watched quietly as his usual associates, 3 Andromedan exchange cadets, avoided his eyes and drifted toward a Krillian group. He felt no anger, only confirmation. Humans were liabilities here. The roster AI spoke again. Morrison, Jake. Human. Solo entry. Laughter rippled through the hall. Solo meant failure. Even apex predators survived in groups. Jake removed his earbuds, stood, and walked toward the transport bay without protest. No speeches. No excuses. The drop pod screamed through the atmosphere of Terra Adjacent 4, lightning tearing across the sky. Below, bioluminescent forests twisted with movement, and twin suns baked the land in relentless heat. When the pod crashed into a clearing, Jake stepped out and inhaled deeply. Heavy gravity. Thick humidity. Air full of spores. Extreme heat. Jake smiled. This wasn't alien to him. This was familiar. Within minutes, he began moving, not panicked, not rushed. He built shelter from broad leaves and vines, positioned for shade and rain. He identified edible plants, marked water sources, and prepared fire before nightfall. While the Academy expected chaos, fear, and collapse, the humans simply adapted. Because on Earth, survival wasn't a test. It was childhood. By the second day on Terra Adjacent 4, most cadet teams were already struggling. Heat exhaustion, neural spore exposure, predator pressure. Several had activated emergency beacons. Jake Morrison had done none of that. His shelter was reinforced, his fire controlled, and his movements deliberate. He treated the environment not as an enemy, but as a system to understand. That understanding was tested when the ground trembled. From the underbrush emerged a Vorax hunter, a 6-legged reptilian ambush predator the size of a terrestrial grizzly, armored in natural plating and armed with claws designed to shred reinforced suits. On Academy records, Vorax hunters had killed trained Krillian warriors. Jake didn't scream. He didn't freeze. He assessed. When the creature lunged, Jake sidestepped at the last second, avoiding the killing arc by instinct refined over years. He seized a marked branch and drove it into the creature's eye as it overextended. The Vorax reeled, enraged. Jake rolled clear, grabbed a sharp stone, and waited. When it charged again, wounded and reckless, Jake ducked beneath its claws and drove the stone into its throat, severing the main artery. He backed away, breathing steadily, managing the adrenaline surge with practiced control. 3 minutes later, the predator collapsed. Jake waited longer. Only then did he move to butcher the carcass, preserving meat and using its hide for waterproofing. At the Academy monitoring station, silence reigned. The human just killed a Vorax, a Quarksian observer whispered. Commander Threx leaned closer. Pull his file. The data explained everything. Jake Morrison, age 21. Raised in Montana. Parents, wilderness survival instructors. Hunting, tracking, camping since age 4. Multiple combat disciplines. Earth wildlife regularly breached human settlements. A Deathworlder, Threx clicked. A true one. Later that day, Jake encountered the Andromedan cadets who had abandoned him. They were cornered on a cliff by multiple Vorax hunters. Jake observed from the trees. He could have left. Instead, he whistled sharply, a sound used back home to call dogs. The predators turned. Jake dropped, threw stones with precision, and shouted instructions. He led the hunters through terrain he had already mapped, into pits, snares, and weakened ground. One by one, the predators fell. The last died to a spear of hardened wood and bone. Afterward, Jake shared fire, water, and knowledge. The Andromedans stared at him in fear. "How are you so calm?" one asked. Jake shrugged. "We learned or we died." By the third day, the Academy's observers no longer watched Jake Morrison out of disbelief, but fascination. He had become a moving lesson in survival theory. Where other species relied on physical advantages or collective tactics, the human relied on planning, memory, and adaptation. Every action conserved energy. Every movement served a purpose. Jake now traveled with 12 cadets from multiple species, survivors he had found, defended, or guided. He didn't command them. He taught them. How to purify water. How to avoid scent trails. How to read terrain. How to stay calm. When predators appeared, Jake didn't fight unless necessary. He diverted, confused, and outthought them. When storms struck, he positioned shelter to survive them. When injuries occurred, he treated them with limited supplies and improvised techniques. The cadets watched him constantly, trying to understand what made humans different. One finally asked, "Why are you like this?" Jake thought about it while adjusting a snare. "Earth isn't gentle," he said. "It never was. Seasons kill. Animals kill. Nature doesn't care. So we learn to think ahead. To stay calm. To keep moving even when we're scared." When extraction finally arrived, Jake emerged from the forest exhausted but steady. His clothes were shredded. His body bore cuts and bruises. But his eyes were clear. He had completed a solo survival exam on a level 7 Deathworld. And saved 12 lives. Commander Threx met him at the landing bay. "Impressive performance," he said. Jake nodded. "Thank you, sir." Threx hesitated. "Why do you stay quiet? Why hide what you can do?" Jake smiled faintly. "Back home, the most dangerous animals are quiet. They don't prove anything. They just survive." As Jake walked away, the cadets parted instinctively. No laughter. No doubt. Only understanding. Earth wasn't a garden world. It was a crucible. The Academy's official report was circulated within hours. Terra adjacent for survival exam results showed unprecedented data. A single human cadet completed the trial solo, neutralized multiple apex predators, and extracted with 0 fatalities among allied cadets. Analysts struggled to categorize the performance. Commander Threx addressed the council shortly after. "Humans are not weak," he stated. "They are optimized for persistence. For adaptation. For thinking under pressure." The misconception had been fatal for many species throughout history, judging power by appearance, technology, or raw strength. Humans possessed none of the obvious advantages. No claws. No armor. No venom. What they had was experience. Earth had forced it into them. Predators. Disasters. Scarcity. Conflict. Endless variation in threat. Humans evolved not to dominate immediately, but to endure relentlessly. They didn't panic at danger. They analyzed it. Jake Morrison's performance wasn't exceptional. It was typical. That realization unsettled the Academy more than anything else. If one quiet human could do this, what could trained human units accomplish? What could a unified humanity become? From that cycle onward, humans were no longer ignored. Cadets requested training with them. Survival doctrines were rewritten. Threat assessments updated. Jake returned to his seat in the back of the hall, earbuds in, hood up. Still quiet. Still watching. The galaxy had learned something important. Never underestimate a species born on a death world.